Important news today. Just about a day ago, on behalf of George Zimmerman, I filed a lawsuit against Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren for defamation, as you know. It's been widely reported on all the networks, all the major publications, because both Buttigieg and Warren called our client, George Zimmerman, a white supremacist that engaged in gun violence as well as a racist. Now, we didn't file it because of the presidential debate last evening. Things go quickly in this world. But I was very surprised that even the leftist media, even NBC, did not ask them any questions about it. Because when you watch that debate, you see the lies going back and forth between all of the candidates. There's not a shred of truth in anything they say, and no one holds each other accountable. And if you looked at the demeanor of Mayor Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren, they couldn't care less that they defamed George Zimmerman. They couldn't care less that they were sued for $245 million plus what we'll add later as punitive damages. They think they're above the law. They think they'll never have to answer. You know what? They're wrong. In a Florida state court in Polk County, they're going to have to answer. Maybe this was federal court in Washington, D.C. With those highly politicized judges up there, they might escape. But in the state of Florida, it's a trial lawyer state, cases overwhelmingly go to a jury. That's the reason why these cases are so powerful, because I brought the case not just for George Zimmerman, who was acquitted with a defense of self-defense. He's not a white supremacist. He's not even white. He's Hispanic. He helped black kids, black youth before this whole tragedy occurred. But this is the attitude of the ruling elite. They cannot be held accountable for anything. We've seen it across the board. We've seen it with John Brennan. We've seen it with James Clapper. We've seen it with Obama. We've seen it with Clinton. We've seen it with George W. Bush. We've seen it with Dick Cheney. We've seen it with all of them. I don't even have to get to the Clintons and Comeys and McCabe's and the rest of them, because they think they're untouchable. Well, I got news for you. Larry Klayman hasn't been doing this for 42 years because I think they're untouchable. They are touchable. In the correct court with a decent judge allowing cases to go to juries, we will get justice. And that's why I want you to support what we do. Now, the case against Zimmerman, this one in particular, I brought in my private capacity. You can find it at LarryKlayman.com. That's KLAYMAN.com for those of you who don't know me. But Freedom Watch has a leftist media strike force. And we bring cases, hard-hitting cases, against the left, and we'll bring it against the right for defamation and other reasons. In fact, I was in court just a few weeks ago with regard to Roger Stone, who defamed my client, Jerry Corsi, because he was afraid that Corsi would testify against him in his criminal trial. Corsi said, if I'm subpoenaed, I will testify truthfully. But Roger Stone couldn't restrain himself. He defamed Corsi and he defamed me, and we brought lawsuits on that. And those cases are going forward. And you can see the deposition that I took of Stone, 1.5 days, on our websites at LarryKlayman.com and at freedomwatchusa.org. There certainly is a public interest in seeing how these things work, and I urge you to watch them. And you can see that I was defamed yet again during the deposition and called various names, cursed at, this and that. We cannot turn the other cheek. Jesus did not turn the other cheek. That's a misnomer. The high priests and the Romans are no longer around. The Father took care of them. We're doing it legally and peacefully. And if we don't put an end to the lying and the defamation and the smears and the way people are destroyed in our country, we will have no country left at all. And that's for sure. We are in a revolutionary period. We at Freedom Watch and in my private capacity are trying to use legal means to bring about justice and restore the rule of law and respect for our Constitution. So I want you to go to LarryKlayman.com, read the complaint that George Zimmerman filed against Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren just a few days ago. See how detailed it is. See how compelling it is. In fact, even the leftist media had to report it in a fairly honest way, which was quite unusual. And of course, they're worried that if they defame Zimmerman again, that they'll get sued. And I want that message to go out far and wide. Open your mouth, defame people, destroy them. And if they're a client of Larry Klayman's like George Zimmerman, or if you defame me, you will be sued. And then I want you to go to Freedom Watch and look at our leftist media strike force. Join that. Support our cause. with contributions, tax-deductible contributions. We are your Justice Department. You have none. There is no Justice Department in this country that actually stands up for the American people. They stand up for themselves, the deep state. So I want to thank you for listening each day. We're going to have our weekly radio show, which is broadcast mostly on Sunday in about 55 stations nationwide. It's up on podcast as well as this particular podcast at radioamerica.com, at freedomwatchusa.org, at iTunes, at Spotify, at Patreon, at Facebook. And I want you to share it far and wide, because it's very important that we educate the American people, and we need to rise up to save our country. So join Freedom Watch at freedomwatchusa.org. Contribute to our cause, join our Justice League, and also follow what I'm doing in my private capacity at larryklayman.com. Until our next podcast, God bless you, God bless your family, God bless America, and God save America. Thank you for listening to me.